Good morning, Valerie Ling here, coming live today to talk about parenting. Is it a thankless job? Does it feel like a thankless job? Can we actually do something about it and make it a thankful job? I'm Valerie Ling, clinical psychologist, director, founder for the Center for Effective Living. So this week, of course, is the lead up to the National Day, bringing awareness to anti-bullying, saying no to bullying. Tomorrow is actually the day, and I think it's a really full-on topic for parents. You're going to get all kinds of reactions and opinions and experiences about people's experiences with bullying. In particular, I think the social media and cyber behavior, bullying has made things very, very difficult. And you see all kinds of discussions if you're part of a parent's website, part of an online group, that there's going to be all kinds of emotional and sometimes inflammatory reactions if you talk about behaviors at school, whether a child is picking on your child or whether you think a teacher is picking on your child. So I actually was reflecting on this, thinking, gosh, it's hard to be a parent these days. It's hard to be a parent at any stage of life or in decades past, but it's really complicated. It's really, really tough. And I don't know about you, but I think as parents, we go into the zone where we really go and think, oh my goodness, it's a thankless job. Everybody wants a piece of me. If it's not my child, it's their teacher, or it's their school, or it's this Facebook group that just wants to tell me what to do or raise expectations. And my goodness, I'm already not coping. I can't do this anymore. And I really thought about that because I think you're right. Parenting can be a thankless job. Do we actually expect it to be a thankless job? Well, if you say to your child, you need to say thank you to me every time I do this, and are they really being thankful? Are they really being grateful? So instead, I want to bring the conversation back to something that is annoyingly obvious, and I feel gets thrown around quite a lot, but nevertheless, let's talk about this. It's got to do with self-care. And before you switch off, I'm not going to go on the usual spiel of what is self-care. I just want to talk about elasticity. Elasticity. That thing where you stretch and you come back and you stretch and you come back, but you got the boing factor. You don't go snap, right? You can sort of yield and pull and be adaptable and flexible no matter what comes your way. Elasticity. It's a very similar image when you talk about bringing up teenagers, where your relationship with your teenager has to have a degree of elasticity. You got to know when to let things loose a little bit and when to just pull back a little, right? And do the dance of independence versus parenting and coaching them and having your input. It's the degree to which I think us as parents are able to remain elastic in amidst all of this noise on social media and in the midst of issues such as bullying and the various demands that we have, juggling all the roles and expectations. So what can impact our elasticity? Well, sometimes it's because our own life situation is stressful. What's happening for you at work? What's happening for you right before you step into the door? What's happening for you right before the 2:30, 3 o'clock pickup, right? Which is a very common time for a lot of us to have our coffee. What's happening for you in your relationships? What's your relationship with your partner like at the moment? How about with your own family? What's your relationship like with your friends? Are you having hurt, disappointment, rejection, frustration in those relationships? What's happening in your relationship with yourself? How are you feeling about yourself? Are you tired physically? Do you feel well? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel resourced? What's happening for you in your world? Because all of those things are going to start impacting your needs and your frustrations when you're having to interact with children, whether they're this little or up that high, right? Because why? Parenting is fundamentally a role where we give, where we try as best as we can to hold back our stuff, to hold into perspective what's going on for our child. Now, it doesn't mean that they have carte blanche to do whatever. If a child, whether they're an adult or a little person, is acting out, we often have to pull back our initial reactions and regulate our own emotions to be able to put ourselves in their shoes and say, now what on earth is going on? Is that a respect issue? Is that a thing where, we need to talk about them being disrespectful? Is it a boundaries issue? It's really not okay to hit out or to verbally lash out or to have a good old vent at my expense. What is it? We're constantly needing to actually pull back into our own headspace, regulate our own emotions so that we can hold the perspective of our child, whether they're little or whether they're big, and be the parent in the room. And that requires us to be tanked up. That requires us to actually reflect on all the other stuff that's going on in our world, that when we're actually starting to think like, this is a thankless job, this kid doesn't care, my child of mine is being entitled, what am I getting back out of this? Well, maybe it's not about our relationship with our child. Maybe it's got to do with some deficits or some needs that we have. And I just want to say that with a topic like bullying, that can be a very emotionally provocative subject. And you're going to need to be tanked up to handle it, because you're going to need to come into a space where you're feeling level and even and resourced and supported by the people around you, to be able to go in and bat for your child if you need to, right? So my encouragement, I think, for this segment is to say, let's not throw out self-care as another one of those yada, 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 who's got time for that, I'm fine. Let's just look at it as, how elastic do you feel right now? Are you on the verge of snapping, or do you have a bit of give? If you're on the verge of snapping, maybe it's time to pull back and really reflect on how all those different areas of your world are going and what you actually need so that you can be tanked up to be elastic. I'll leave you with that, and have a great lunch, have a great day.